Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. When do you see an extreme reaction from an entity, be it a human being or an organization or a government? Well, either when it's a situation that that entity considers extreme and very, very dangerous, and your stance is very uncertain. That means you're unsecure. Now, if you're strong and someone attacks you, you're not going to be, even that person is strong, you're strong. But if you're unsecure in your strength and something small occurs, you immediately react like from 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds. What's going on here? This is Zelensky's reaction, I think, under a growing opposition to NATO's involvement in Ukraine and the fact that the Ukrainians are in charge of the Ukrainian nation, which is obviously supposedly Zelensky Stein, Yermak Stein, and Zhmyhal Stein, and you can put Umerov, who's not a Stein, but nevertheless still Ukrainian, full-fledged. So what do they do? What is Zelensky doing? Not only fires Zaluzny and sends him for safekeeping in London, like in a cage over there, unmonitored and out of reach of any military power, which could be brought back like they brought back Khomeini. Remember Khomeini? Yeah, in 1979 from Paris. They parachuted him straight to Tehran. Who did that? The Soviets from Paris. Anyway, who kept him in Paris. So the same thing here. He parachuted Zaluzny, General Zaluzny in London, and now he's probably going to parachute Syrsky, the successor of Zaluzny, he's Russian, gonna parachute him somewhere else, just demote him and send him out of that. Why? I think this guy became and was as paranoid as he must have been at the beginning, or might have been at the beginning. Right now, I think he's at Stalin's paranoia. And I think he's going to start purges in the purges. Purges? Purge. A purge. Let's make it weasel way. He's going to start a purge. He has been working on it since the invasion of Ukraine by the evil Russians. He's going to do it and against the traitors. Who's going to determine who the traitors are? The government. Who's in charge of the government? Zelensky. There's a martial law instituted in Ukraine, so your liberties and freedoms are going to negative. All right, let's look at this one. Ukrainska Pravda. Zelensky convenes major meeting focusing on traitors to protect the Ukrainian people. And they will arrest as his fellow people, the commissars in Soviet Union, did during the early Soviet times. You remember the NKVD? One of the two. Remember those black vans that Alexander Solzhenitsyn was talking about? Yes, exactly. Who were they? Remember Katyn forest massacre by the commissars in Poland? You got names, you know who they are, you can look for them. Especially one, I read an article about the main guy in Katyn forest, and you can't believe his origin, man. You wouldn't believe that, of course. Anyway, so here he convenes and focusing on traitors. Traitors everywhere, like Stalin, like Iron Maiden song, water everywhere. Remember, I think it was something of the Ancient Mariner. Anyway, good song. So here he's gonna focus on traitors for you. That tells me that he is very unsecured on his position, or the opposition is growing towards his whatever he's got over there, dictatorship, because democracy is not. So let's look at this article for a second. Oh, he's thoughtful. Look how thoughtful he is. Look at that. It's kind of like my picture on the Telegram channel, in the YouTube channel. Yeah. Man, we are alike. Zelensky, Stein, and Kosman. President Volodymyr Zelensky would convene a meeting of the heads of law enforcement and a number of other agencies that means the whole force of the state, on 26th of August to discuss traitors to the state and their flight from Ukraine, or never heard of. And I'm quoting, though, regarding those individuals who work against our state, that I will find, my people will find my commissars, and we're gonna purge Ukraine of the traitors. Traitors of Ukraine, see, traitors of Ukraine, who assisted Russian aggression or justified, who fled from Ukraine to evade responsibility. Our state needs clear answers regarding such people, clear accountability. All these comrades must get what they deserve, no matter where they hide or where they flee. I think treason under the Ukrainian law means... Anyway, I have scheduled a meeting for tomorrow with the heads of Ukraine's law enforcement agencies, the Security Service, Interior Ministry, and State Bureau of Investigation. So these are his guys that he put in charge, guys that will be loyal to him. As well, not to Putin, obviously, as well as the heads of NABU, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, SAP, the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. All these are in name. These are all purging agencies. They will look for corruption and they will fight corruption. You remember Lazar Kaganovich, one of Zelensky in the Soviet Union in the 30s, 40s, and early 50s, and then he was put to the side, not killed, and he died in 1991, if I remember correctly, after he was interviewed by one of his nephews from New York. Now you understand who Lazar Kaganovich was. Right? So he told Stalin, Comrade Stalin, show me the person, I find you the crime. The same here. These guys with corruption is just the first step to get you. How? Blackmail. And you're gonna confess publicly, as the Soviets did in the 1930s, 40s. Remember those public hearings and I apologize and self-incrimination? Televised, mind you. And no resemblance, no, because I don't know. Zelensky is Jewish, so that's covered. And then obviously he's the good person because he fights for democracy and for the West, for you and for your children. So he's the good guy, so he can't be like that. And the Russians are evil, so they can't be both evil. They exclude. One must be good and the other one evil. You can't have two evil people fight. No. Unless you don't like them. And when you don't like them, you can have them. Evil and evil, they're fighting. Well, not our business. Hutis and Tutis, or whatever in Africa. Good people, all of them. The State Border Guard Service, these guys that are using on the Tisa River who crosses into Romania, and say, no, they just drowned. Yeah, okay. The Prosecutor General and the intelligence representatives, all the apparatus. There are many issues that need to be discussed at the meeting and conclusions that must be drawn. What does that mean? I'm guaranteeing you these guys will come something like, if you utter a squeak word against these guys, you're going to be detained. I think the situation is bad. And yesterday I covered the video. I made a video on an article about Alexander Syrski, the guy in charge supposedly of the Ukrainian military, who's at the orders of the guys in charge. You know who they are? NATO, United States of America. I don't know. I have a gut feeling about it. No evidence. It just got a gut feeling. And they started talking about, is he a butcher? Like, you know, that defender in the in English football, in English team, I don't know, 1980s, Butcher, I can't remember his first name. Everybody was afraid of him. Like Conti in Italian defender. Oh, you don't want to be around Conti, he would break your legs. The same with Butcher. Butcher lived up to his name in the soccer field, football field. Anyway, so I think these guys will get everybody like that. And the directive will be all sugar-coated to tell you that he's actually protecting our nation, humanity in general, and the universe against the European Putin. Right, we need the Zelensky Stein to defend the Europeans from the Europeans, you know? All right, that's the first one. Remember there was a Russian attack, allegedly, on a hotel. Not Hotel of the Invalids or Hotel California, a hotel in Kramatorsk, where some innocent civilians and some media people, one especially a British guy, lost his life. the media in the West says that's a terrorist attack. It was the Russians attacking. Poor media, Western media, was located in that hotel in Kramatorsk. Now I will read a few articles here about that, and then I will tell you that, how should I put it? Not direct, because I wasn't involved in it, but knowledge about the revolution in 1989, when the Romanian was about to be broken into parts by the neighbors, some of them, most of them, maybe aside from the Black Sea, all of them wanted a part of Romania. So anyway, they were ready. I'm going to give you what I know about an incident where this was supposed to happen earlier, where in Iași, a city in northeast of Romania, in Iași, there was a hotel full of tourists, just tourists. But those tourists didn't speak Romanian, obviously, because they came from outside and they were located, and they were all male tourists. And the Romanians put themselves next to these tourists. The Romanian security service is armed. That is, if you guys do something, we're going to fuck you up. Nothing came out of it because these guys knew the Romanians were on them. And then it was postponed, the revolution. So could that be here in the Kramatorsk that we have some, I don't know, foreign fighters, mercenaries, or just, innocent, how do you call those, media people? We'll find out. I don't know, but I'm going to show you how from just a British guy to what the British guy's background was. I'm sorry he died, but I'm going to show you who this guy was. I have 1 article, 2, 3, 4, and then Russia Today will tell us more about who's who and what's what. And then we find out that the United States of America, the Russians claim, and obviously that's not necessarily true, right? It's not necessarily true because they all lie. Says that the US is preparing, which confirms some things I said many, many times, preparing another color revolution in Georgia, the country of Georgia. And as I said many, many times, you have Armenia, which is the target, and you need Georgia for Armenia. And Russian spy agency says, I don't trust them. But it's a conclusion that I reached many, many months ago, maybe almost 2 years ago. But that's been clear since the imbecile Saakashvili was ordered to go and go in South Ossetia to take it because it's theirs. And then the Russians smacked them, Putin, mind you. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you a map of the Caucasus, and we're going to discuss that. So let's go to this article where Russia deliberately destroyed hotel in Kramatorsk. This good person, pure person, chosen person, I don't know how you would call it, chosen by the people of Ukraine. Okay, I have to say that. Ukraine form. Rather, the hotel in Kramatorsk, where foreign journalists were staying, was destroyed by the Russian military in a deliberate manner. Okay, no problem. Or that's what they say. It says that all day today in Kramatorsk, the rubble was being cleared after Russian missile strike. Could it have been a Ukrainian strike? No. Who says that? The Ukrainians. So, okay. So if you're a suspect and your testimony is that you didn't do it, that means you didn't do it. In particular, journalists, the crew of the Reuters agency, were injured. One of them died. Citizens of Ukraine, America, and Britain. It's very strange. These guys are the supporters of the sponsors. It's no Romanian journalist or French. French are involved, but not there yet, right? Well, I know, Indian or Chinese. No, it's just the guy involved. I mean, don't be a baboon, my friends. An ordinary city hotel was destroyed by a Russian Iskander. Oh, that you couldn't destroy so easily in other parts, but here you didn't do it. absolutely, purposefully, thoughtfully. 7 people were injured in the strike. 1 person was killed, he said. So how do you know it was purposely and thoughtfully? How do you know that? That is assigning intent. Well, it's very hard to prove that. It's like you say, Emil did that because of this. You don't know that. You have to prove that. How? Not by what happened over there. First, you attribute that to be my strike. I deny that. I say no, I dispute that. This was not me. Actually, it was you. And I have as much evidence as you have. That's me. A missile hitting that. That's the first one. And then you got, oh no, that was not ours. You see, that's yours. No, that's mine. That's yours. That's yours. Okay. And you say, he did it purposely because I wanted it, not accidentally. I wanted it. And thoroughly. What if I say, okay, but over there they were just mercenaries? It was mercenaries. You're going to say no, and I'm going to say yes. Who do you trust? The guys on the Ukrainian side, because they are the good guys. They tell us. That's not how justice works and truth. But hey, you have to talk and bring evidence. Now, let's go to the next article. Ukrinform. Reuters confirms team member death in Kramatorsk. Ryan Evans. A safety advisor. What does that mean? I will tell you. A part of a Reuters crew staying at Hotel Sapphire in the city of Kramatorsk in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region on Saturday when it was hit by a missile, the news agency said. And Reuters should be trusted because they never lied. We are urgently seeking more information about the attack, including by working with the authorities, Ukrainian authorities that is, in Kramatorsk, and we are supporting our colleagues and their families. All right, well, remember, here is just a safety advisor. What is a safety advisor? Well, let's move on to the next article. BBC, never lied. British man killed in missile strike in Ukraine. Here's the poor guy over there. I don't know if it's a poor guy, but nevertheless. A British national who was working in eastern Ukraine as part of a Reuters news team was killed in a missile strike on a hotel. Safety advisor was one of the 6 Reuters employees. Okay. Ukrainian authorities say the hotel was struck by Russian missiles. Russia has not commented. Beneath us. All right. Anyway, so here, this is bad. Let's go to the next article. CNN says the same thing. British safety advisor for Reuters killed in Russian strike on Ukraine hotel. And the same thing. But we find out from Russia Today, which are the liars, ex-British soldier confirmed dead in Donbass attack. Question. Did Great Britain institute mandatory draft? No. So that means he was in the military because he wanted to be. So he's a former military. He's like 30-some. So he's not because he went. And he's an advisor. What does that mean? That he's advising the crews where to go and don't go left or right. Don't do this because over there. But he didn't have any weapons. He was just an advisor because the crew did not know where to go and what to do. He was just with the intelligence. He was just protecting the media, how do you call them? I always have a problem remembering this one. I call them media operatives or system operatives. The media people protecting. He was like that, but he was an ex-military. Well, of course, Emil, because they need the expertise. They need, they need to. How do you think you get the job, particular job? Do you think that's what it is? I don't know, but I'm not a baboon, so I'm not gonna turn full retard because these guys tell me something. Why? Because of that thing that I told you about Romania, 1989, with those, there were Soviet military and, how do you call those, GUR, from the intelligence, military intelligence of Soviet Union at that time, GUR, they were staying at the hotel, and the Romanian security and military surrounded it, and they were and these guys realized that, and they stayed put over there for some time, and then they just went with their Lada cars back to Soviet Union. Did you know that? All right, here it is. Ryan Evans, who worked as a security advisor for Reuters, was reportedly killed in a strike on a hotel in the city of Kramatorsk. Reuters security advisor has reported Ukrainian-controlled city of Kramatorsk, several other injuries. Evans, a former British military officer, has been working with Reuters since 2022, advising journalists, this is the word I always have a problem remembering, journalists, on security issues around the world, including in Ukraine, Israel, and the recent Paris Olympics. The 38-year-old, was reportedly staying at the Sapphire Hotel along with 5 other members of the news agency's film crew. Following the strike of the building Saturday night, 2 Reuters journalists were injured while Evans was initially thought to be missing. So, who is this guy? Now, the Russian defense minister has not yet commented on the incident. However, Peskov, Kremlin spokesman, has responded by saying that Russian forces only conduct strikes on military infrastructure facilities or buildings connected to the Ukrainian military. Now, who was this guy? Well, isn't the picture a little bit painted differently? Well, you can say, well, I mean, that's normal. That's normal. Yeah, but I don't trust those guys. I don't trust these guys either. I trust my experience, my proven knowledge on things. That's what I trust. So when I look at these guys, both of them could lie, but it's the hotel and this guy's ex-military, just according to those guys, just a advisor. And the Russians claim that the mercenaries are all over the place. You're just sitting in a hotel over there. I don't like when journalists have this fate, regardless who the journalists are. I hope they're good journalists, though. You know what I mean? All right, let's go to the next and the last topic. Russia Today, again, these guys. U.S. preparing another color revolution, Russian spy agency says. Now, again, you can say, well, do you trust these guys? No. But I know how the dynamics of that area in general and who wants what. These guys want to open a next front right here. You see this? Georgia and Armenia right there. Right this. And they can't open anything in Armenia unless they have Georgia covered. And they tried with the color revolution with the so-called Russian law. Thugs and others being very violent. And when the other ones use water hose and to disperse the agitators, oh my God, it's destroying democracy in Georgia. I mean, democracy is limited as it is. And if it's kept under a certain kind of control with the media that belongs to the guys in charge of, certain things, then the democracy is just a farce. Farce. All right. So they tried before and they tried again, and they will try it. So I kind of trust this piece of news. Ties between Washington and Georgia fried after MPs in the ex-Soviet Republic passed controversial foreign agents law. That these guys said this was the Russian law. No, it was not the Russian law. The Americans had it something like similar in 1930 something. And then remember, Mr. Scott Ritter, former inspector, UN inspector, Army inspector, his house in United States of America was raided by FBI for the same reason. He failed to register as a foreign agent. Oh, was that the Russian foreign agent law or it was the American foreign agent law? Well, the American. Why? Because many times, because we are so great, we are way ahead of the curve. Way ahead, man. Nobody can catch us. And when the other guys come closer, we say, you can't do this. Yeah, but you did it many times. Oh, Hitler went and took over the Sudetenland, and then they took over the Czechoslovakia. But who took over, let's say, Texas, and then took over half of Mexico? And then they went and they took what? How many states? Half of Mexico. We bought it. We purchased it. Who did it first? That's just one example, but I'm just saying, showing you the hypocrisy. When these guys come close to do it, oh my God, you can't do it. Only I can do it. Now, excuse me, I can't root for you. Unless I'm a weasel and I don't have principles. Principles is maintaining your backbone straight in face of when your principles are challenged. If you have principles but are never challenged, you don't know how strong they are. It's only words. It's only words, and oh, that's what I have to steal your heart away. Right. The U.S. is setting the stage for the Ukraine-style coup in Georgia by fomenting protests ahead of the autumn parliamentary elections. The Russian Foreign Intelligence says, and you put some girls here and women and say, oh, see, and they have any children maybe over there? Now, women, yes, because they know better. They feel differently. They're more empathetic than others will have said. I disagree with that. Anyway, maybe you show emotions, but you don't know how deep your emotions are. So if you don't show emotion, doesn't mean you don't have it, right? You don't know how deep that is. But you talk about baboons, what do you want? So again, these guys, I read an article a few days ago, and supposedly, reportedly, which I don't like this, but this is Georgia. And I'm not saying it should happen because it's Georgia. The current government, the party in charge of Georgia, has majority in the parliament and so on. These guys want to ban some opposition parties in Georgia because specifically the party that was made up or belonged to Saakashvili, the one who invaded in 2008 South Ossetia and then got a bloody nose. Remember the guy? Yeah, these guys want to outlaw that, ban it. And they say because this is just a den for traitors trying to overthrow the government. Talking about traitors. And I don't like when they ban things like this, but if you look in Ukraine, those guys banned the Russian Orthodox Church affiliated with Russia, right? Ukraine Orthodox Church or any Orthodox church, not synagogues, affiliated with the Russians. They banned Russian political parties. They took care of some supporters, the Russian media, Russian-speaking media, or all these things happen, and these guys are, it's a democracy. We defend. Ukraine defends democracy by infringing on democracy. The same, but these guys don't want to do that. I disagree with what they do, but I know that's their thing, not my thing. They know better than I what the ins and outs are over there. The same with the Ukrainians. But how much I understand of the situation, I know these guys are trying to stage a color revolution in Georgia so they can have access to Armenia, which Armenia, by the way, will receive air defense and military support from the United States of America and France. France will send air defense systems and so on. And Georgia was supposed to hold a military training, if I remember, with Americans, 1,000 or 2,000 Americans, I can't remember how many they were, and then they canceled it. I think Putin came and said, when he came to Azerbaijan, said, cancel them. It was before, anyway. I covered it in one of my videos. So, my friends, Georgia will be a tumultuous situation. And I'm assuming there's going to be street fights, and these guys will activate their peaceful NGOs founded by other good people like Soros and others, entrepreneur and philanthropist Soros, Hungarian born. This is how you have to refer to Soros. Philanthropist, entrepreneur, or whatever, not entrepreneur, investor, hedge fund investor or something, hedge fund, whatever, entrepreneur, philanthropist, Hungarian born. You leave out other things that would counterbalance all these beautiful philanthropists. Philanthropists towards helping countries to change things and hope. Changing hope. Yeah, they are the same guys who are with the Obamas and with, what's her name? Hillary Clinton and with Kamala Harris. Yes, you guessed it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.